Hello viewers, welcome back to Splunk online tutorials. Today we are going to learn about the major driving principle behind the Splunk's great ability capabilities of searching and processing the data and visualizations on that data. So the principle behind this is called as MapReduce. To know deeply about MapReduce, let's go to a little background of Splunk versions. So in the Splunk version 1 and 2, when a query is executed, only top 10 to 100 results are retrieved. So any result after that will not be retrieved. Post that is not retrieved. So this caused very limitation on Splunk scalability, because when you have to expand your business and scale the Splunk to serve much bigger machine data, so the 10 to 100 results are nowhere sufficient to analyze on the data. So it should be big. The capability should be big. So in version 3, Splunk has added a statistical capability, enhancing the ability to perform analytics. So with this addition, search could run against an index to deliver more content. So on Splunk version 3, so they have added the capability to search on an index. So this increased their retrieving capability from the minimum value to a good number of score. So after that, so in response to the input from Splunk users to address the challenges of large scale data processing, in July 2009, so Splunk has changed this model by adding the facility to retrieve and analyze massive data sets using a divide and conquer policy. So this divide and conquer approach is, in other terms, it is called as a map reduce mechanism. With Splunk 4, optimized the execution of its search language using MapReduce model, where parallelism is the key. Because when any task is done parallelly, the time amount of the doing the task is greatly reduced. So parallelism was very key for the Splunk during the version 4 when it introduced MapReduce mechanism into its processing mechanism. So what is MapReduce? So MapReduce is the model of distributed data processing introduced by Google in 2004. So MapReduce is a model of distributed data processing introduced by Google in 2004. The fundamental concept of MapReduce is divide problems into two parts. Map function that processes the source data into sufficient statistics, and reduce function that merges all sufficient statistics into a final answer. So it started dividing into two parts. Map function. So what does map function do? So map function processes the source data into sufficient statistics. It processes the source data into sufficient statics, and reduce function. So what the main aim of this reduce function is to merge all those statistics to get a final answer. So that is the main principle behind map function and a reduced function. So in that way, so Splunk works, it maps to get all the sufficient statistics on the source data, and it reduces the statistics into a final answer. So that will be the answer to the query that user queries on the Splunk indexes. So for large scale batch processing and high speed data retrieval, common in very web search scenarios, MapReduce provides the fastest, most cost effective, most scalable mechanism for returning results. Today, most of the leading technologies for managing big data are developed on MapReduce. So with MapReduce, there are very few scalability limitations, but leveraging it directly does require writing and maintaining lot of code. So the simplified analysis of this is through the Splunk search language. So to view deeper insights on the Splunk search language, the SPL or Splunk processing language, the Splunk search language is a concise way to express the processing of sparse or dense tabular data using the map reduce mechanism that we have discussed. So without having to write code or understand how to split processing between the map and reduce phases, the main inspiration of the Splunk search language was the Unix shells. So we usually see in Unix shell scripting or Linux scripting is that the pipe symbol. So the advantage of the pipe symbol is the processing of the data output from one command as a data input to the other command. So that is their processing pipeline. So using that piping thing, the Splunk has done its processing language much easier. Within the Splunk that is exposed as a rich set of search commands which can be formed into linear pipelines. So that is the main mechanism behind the Splunk search languages.